Hmm?
You in the frame?
Say what?
I said, are you in the frame? Hey, hey.
Hey, hey, everybody. What's up? What's up?
He's in the frame. Thank you. Because he didn't know what I was talking about.
Because I was looking at myself.
Hey,
He's in the
Tracy.
frame. Thank you.
Hey, is it Lakeisha or Lakeisha? Hey, Lisa. Hey, all things. Is it Sherry or Cherie? Hey, Elise. Hey, hey, hey.
What's up? What's up, fam?
Hey, Minister Misty. Hi, Latanya.
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Hey, Kat. I ain't see you in a long time. Hey, Liz. Hey, Samantha.
What?
Who was that mess? Was that T?
That was T said something. I don't know, baby.
Oh, thank you.
How's everybody doing?
Hey, dear.
Last
Happy Tuesday,
Tuesday, not
dear.
only of the month, but of 2025.
Yes. Welcome, D. Williams. Hey, Ely. Hey, Ann. Those of you who are new, drop um
Or from.
where you coming in from. Oh, thank you. DMV in the house or DC? I don't want to offend you. All right, Killeen, Texas. Arlington, VA. Jamaica. U.S. Virgin Islands. Baby, we need to go there. That's on the top 5. We got to go there. DMV is cool. Okay, thank you. You know. Hey, caller 4, haven't seen you in a long time. India. Ooh, beautiful. Hey, Dorla. Thank you, thank you. You too. Oh, you are gay from Iran. Okay.
Well, look, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started.
Right.
For those of you that don't know, welcome. We're
Mm-hmm.
Terrence and Jill of God-Ordained Union, and we're here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to help increase God-Ordained unions.
Yes, yes. So if you're single and you have been praying for your person, not just marriage, but your person, you're on the right channel. Because we were there one time. We were praying for not just marriage, but we wasn't settling. That's what neither one of us. Neither one of us were gonna settle. And so we were very I guess confident in who we are as individuals, and so yeah, and then God brought us together. We're gonna recap our love story tonight because in the last 24 hours we got 100 new subscribers. So thank you all because that actually pushed us over 20,000
Subscribers.
subscribers.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. So yeah, you never seen two black people with glasses on? Well, here you go. Here you go. Here we are. Here we are. We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We drop pre-recorded videos every single
Sunday and Thursday at 8 p.m.
yes. And thank you for the love from Dubai. We have a prayer call, intercessory prayer call that we are hold on
That we support
that we support.
because we don't host it, we support it.
Yes. We don't host it, but that's every Friday nights starting at 11:50 p.m. into midnight. So we do intercessory prayer. Um, Information about the prayer call, you can go to our website and it is on the calendar. On the calendar. The next one is this Friday. We also have a private group that meets every first and third Tuesdays at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So next Tuesday is our first one for 2026. And it's only $11 a month to join. It's more like a group coaching. We free, you can ask questions in there, ask Terrence and I questions. We can, discuss things amongst the group of us, and what goes on and is said in the group stays in the group.
Yeah.
It's you free to speak in whatever you feeling. So if you have questions from sex to,
You
how
can
God,
comment on other people's
yes,
comments.
yes,
So.
whatever it is you want to have, you have questions about, and not just us answering. Like there's some that group is really made up of some great women who are waiting well. And so it's a great community. So you can cancel at any time. No one is holding you. So if you want to join the group just to see if you like it, you can cancel. If you join the group, it on the group page, you'll see the replays from the last meetings we've had. And so what else?
Someone asked about a group chat. If we had some type of chat of people that was in, I don't think we do.
We do have a group chat in there.
I knew there was a group chat when we had the event, but I wasn't sure if it was still accessible.
Oh, you talking about the private chat?
Yeah.
No, that's just that's just a private chat.
Yeah.
But in the group on the Zoom, there's a chat,
Yeah.
so you can chat. So if you join, this is very important. When you join, after you sign up, you go to your email, get your username or whatever. When you come back to our website, up in the corner where it says login, when you are clicking on that login button on the menu, you've got to wait till the pointer changes to a finger. Because if you keep clicking on it while it's in the pointer mode, it's going to take you to a page that says you can't join when you already joined. So put your cursor up there and make sure it turns to the finger. And then once you click on it, then you can put your password in, and then you'll go to the page, the private page, where it has all the replays, where it has the Zoom access code and all that to log in on Tuesday. So just want to make sure, I just want to make sure that we got to make sure in 2026 we got to get a moderator, because hold on. Okay, something else I was going to say, we were going to say.
We also have one-on-ones.
Oh yes, we have one-on-ones.
Yeah, you can go to our page, sign up for that if you like.
Yes. Thank you, Cherie. Cherie says she'll do it. Thank you. I got caught. What I was gonna say? It's menopause brain.
You call it what you want.
Wow, every time we come in here on live, y'all call my husband Bill Cosby. How
I
you
don't
feel
look
about
at.
that?
I don't. People have their opinions, but I'm not going to agree with it because my name is Terrence.
Amen. 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 All right. So we were, since there's so many new followers, we were, Terrence was saying it might be good for us to retell our story because on the comments, when we're going through the comments on the videos, they're asking a lot. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, about how we got
Right.
together
And there, yeah, that was
and different parts of our story.
right, which makes us know that a lot of you newbies do not know our story.
Yes.
Um, so you want to talk about our story?
Yeah, you just started, and I will jump in when we need to emphasize something.
Okay. Um, and if you have questions, we're gonna take questions as well tonight as well, because since we don't have the private group tonight, we're a little liberal. We can stay on as long as possible,
Yeah,
or as long as we need to. Hey, newbie.
absolutely.
Okay, so back in 2017, 2018, I was I I hadn't been in a relationship since 2013. So this was like maybe 5 years later. Um, I had gotten a call from my ex. Now my ex was married at this point. He was married. And I gotten a call from my ex, and he called on a Thursday, and he was going through something like he wanted a career change or something. He was going through something and he wanted my advice. I hadn't heard from him. Like he would call faithfully every year. So that was around the time of the year where it was like his time to call. So he called, but this time he called, it was weird because he was like stressing about an issue, and he said I really need to talk to my friend. Like I know I can get some good counsel from Jill. So that was a Thursday, and so I was at work when he called, and so I had talked to him for a while. When I got home that night, he called again, and I was like, okay, he really like this is okay. The next day, which was a Friday, he called again. And I talked to him. I talked to him, but I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, where's your wife? Cause like at the end of the day, like you need to be talking to her. And so he laughed about it. And then Saturday morning, he texted. And at that point, I said, this doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm committing adultery. Like, I don't know what I'm not going to do is be in an emotional trauma bond with you. What I'm not going to do is going to be your emotional sponge. I'm not going to do it. So, I didn't respond to the text. That was Saturday morning. And I prayed. I said, Lord, I said, I want my person. This was like in 2017, maybe 2018. I said, Lord, I want my person. Send me my person. And so that day, that Saturday, I was scrolling through Facebook, and somebody, one of my mutual Facebook friends, had posted. It was an article on the three best dating sites. And so two of the sites I was familiar with because that's what one of them I had met him on, my ex. And so I was familiar with two of them, but one of them I was not familiar with. And I was like, should I get back on a dating site? I hadn't been on there in years. And I said, but because I'm not familiar with this particular dating site, let me just try it. So um I tried the dating site. I said, I'm only going to do a 30-day subscription. So I got on the dating site. I made a profile, and I was just like swiping through. No, no, no. I was getting dings, like ding, ding, ding. Like guys were like wanting to talk to me, and I would read their profile. I was like, no, no, no. Couple of days later, I got a match, and it said we were me and the match was 98% compatible. And I was like, wow, okay. And it said that the person was in North Carolina. And I was like, wow, this is okay. This might work because I was in Raleigh. I was like, oh, this is okay. So how I would do dating sites, I would, if you view somebody's profile, they would see that you viewed them. And so I would sit back and wait. Like he saw that I viewed the profile. So I'm gonna sit back and wait and see if he's interested and if he's going to see that I viewed him and he contact me. And it was Terrence. And so Terrence's profile. So it he he didn't send no messages or anything. And so every day I would check. I didn't hear nothing back from him. And then I said, well, let me just, send him emoji. So I sent an emoji and he still didn't bite. Then I realized, I said, well, let me see if he viewed me. A couple of days later, he did not view me. So I was like, well, this is weird. I said, well, maybe he's met somebody. He's just waiting for his subscription to run out. I was like, that is probably what's going on. So I decided to extend, because by that time it was like the 30 days was almost up. I decided to extend the membership for like another 30 days, or maybe I did it for 6 months. I can't remember, but I extended the membership. So he wasn't responding. So I was like, okay, well, that's cool. But when I read his profile, I was like, something about this guy. Like, it was like, it felt familiar. It felt like I was literally reading myself in his profile. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, maybe he got somebody. It's all good. I then get another alert that somebody else is compatible with me. 98%. I was like, okay. Opened up the profile. I looked on the picture. I said, wow. I said, he is handsome. Read the profile. I was like, wait a minute. This sounds like the other guy's profile. Put two and two together. It was the same person. Two different profiles. Terrence had two different profiles, but it was the same person. I was like, okay, this is very, very weird. And so at that point, I was like, okay, he's not on here. I'm just going to just let the membership run out because ain't none of these other guys on here I'm interested in at all. And so I was waiting for it to run out. But let me tell you how good God is, because, everybody else on the dating site, including myself, has a profile name, an alias. And so my alias was Amethyst, Maryland Amethyst. Terrence's profile name was Terrence Smith, his entire name. And so I ended up going on, I said, well, let me see if I can find this guy on social media. So by that time, so I think I joined that dating site. It had to be like maybe June or maybe August. It was in the summer. By this time, it was after Christmas. It was like today. It would be like, I think it was like December 30th. I went and I found him on Facebook. I found his profile on Facebook, and he had the same exact picture as one of the profile pictures that he had on the dating site. So I was like, man, should I contact this guy? Like, it took me days to figure out if I wanted to contact this guy. So finally, I got up the nerve and I DM'd him. And I said, hey, I said, you may think I'm crazy. I said, I don't normally do this. I said, but I found your profile on such and such dating site. And I said, and it said that we're 98% compatible. And I thought that was very high. I said, I would love to have a conversation with you if you're not, if you're single. I said, if you're married or dating, please disregard, do not respond. I said, because I said, I'm just not interested if that's the case. And so I said, please no, this is not what I do. I don't approach people. I was so out of my comfort zone for even doing that. And so a couple of days later, it was New Year's Eve. So I must have contacted Terrence right before Christmas. A couple of days later, it was New Year's Eve, and it was a Saturday. And I got a response from Terrence from in the DM. And he said, "Hey," he was like, "How you doing?" He was like, he said, "First things first, I'm single." He said, "I am single." He said, "Wow." He said, you found my profile on that dating site." He said, "I hadn't been on that dating site in over 5 years." And I was like, wow, well, you better get your money back or you better sue because they still running your profile. And so we laughed about that. And I said, I would love to have a conversation with you. I said, because it says with 98% compatible. He was like, well, I mean, the least I can do is give you a conversation. Least I can give you a conversation. And then I was like, okay, well, I tell you what, because I had my sister, my family was coming in town to spend New Year's with me to bring the New Year in. They were literally driving, like they had right before I had opened up Terrence's message, they had said that they were pulling up. And so I said, I tell you what, I said, in a couple of days, I will reach back out to you. And I said, at that point, we can exchange numbers if you would like, and we can have a conversation. And he was like, oh, that's great, whatever, that's cool. So a couple of days later, I reached out to him in a DM and I said, "Hey," I said, just want to let you know that, I'm available to chat whenever you're available." That was like maybe January 5th or 6th, maybe. Crickets. He didn't say anything. He didn't respond. Let me go back a couple of days. So when I reached out to Terrence on Facebook, as soon as we stopped chatting in the DM, I got a request from Terrence, which I thought was from Terrence from Facebook, that he requested me as a friend on Facebook. So I immediately accepted his friend request. So when I reached back out a couple of days later and he did not respond, I was like, okay, well, it is what it is, because in my mind is like, okay, he might be busy or whatever, but he did request me as a friend, so it's all good. It's all good. Because I was at the point where, I mean, at least we're gonna be Facebook friends, because this guy seems real interesting. At least we're gonna be Facebook friends. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I got a busy life too. He's probably busy. It is what it is. So, but I thought for sure he was going, like hit me up in a couple of days. I didn't hear from him. That was like early January. February came, didn't hear from him. March, April, May, June, July, I think it was August. I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends, and she said, I hate when Facebook do such and such. You contact somebody in a DM and then it automatically send. I didn't send that girl no friend request, and I was like, wait a minute, whoa, hold up, wait, what are you saying? And she explained. She said, when you contact somebody in their DM, if they respond to you, Facebook is going to send a friend request from them. So I was like, wait a minute. So Terrence didn't actually send me a friend request. So I was like, this is weird. At that point, I felt real stupid. Like, I felt like my pride was shattered. Like, why did I do that? Why did I reach out to this guy? I was like, but I still felt like in my flesh was like all over the place. But my spirit was like, there's something about this guy. And so at that point, I released it. Well, let me go back. Before I contacted Terrence in the DM, it was like maybe that October prior. So before I decided to go to his Facebook, and I think I still had my account with the dating site, I had a dream. And in that dream, I dreamt that Terrence was at my apartment in Raleigh, and he was in my guest bedroom laying down sleep. And I peeked in the room. The room was dark. I peeked in the room. And when I peeked in the room, it was a safety pin that was open. And I went in and I closed the safety pin and I put the covers over him to make sure he was good. I left out the room and I closed the door. And so the Lord immediately told me what the dream meant was that when I was covering him, I was to cover him in prayer. So when I contacted him and he didn't contact me back, my spirit was okay because I had committed to praying for this guy, whatever was going on. So I had just said, well, maybe he's just going to be a Facebook friend and maybe I'm just called to pray for this guy. I committed. I said, Lord, if you say I need to pray for this guy, not pray for him that he would be mine, but pray for him, whatever this guy is going through, it's something dark, like it's something sad. And so I just committed to praying for this guy. So when I found out that he didn't really send me a friend request, my flesh was messed up, but I just said, Lord, you said to pray for this guy. I'm going to pray for him. So every Friday I would fast and I would pray. I said, Lord, I don't know what this man is going through, but whatever he's going through, please cover him. Please keep him. I didn't pray a selfish prayer. I didn't pray that he would be mine. I just prayed for this guy, even though my flesh had a crush on him. And after August, I let it go. I released him. I released him because to me, he wasn't interested. And I was like, Lord, I keep getting these signs, but it's out of my control. I'm just releasing. Like I don't know what else. I did enough. And I don't even like what I did. And so
So before you continue, let's put a pin in that because I want to do a couple things. One, someone asked in the chat, why didn't I respond? And that answer is very simple. And that is, before all of this happened, I was in multi-level marketing, okay? And the company that I was in it big time. And I was on social media every day, almost from sun up to sundown. When I wasn't doing something else, I was on social media. So I've done that for so many years that I was at a point in my life where I actually was separating myself from social media. So I wasn't on there that often. So even when I responded to the message she sent me, I just happened to be on there that particular day. And once I got off, I got off. So just like I told her, I hadn't been on that site in 5 years. I hadn't been on social media, but maybe a couple times a month just to go through and stroll and see, especially around the holidays, because my birthday's on Christmas Day and I get a lot of happy birthday wishes. And so that's really the biggest time that I'm on social media. At that time, it was really just to hit people up to say, thank you for wishing me happy birthday or whatever, whatever. Now, I want to talk about her talking about releasing me, because a lot of you in your comments in the last couple of weeks have been asking a lot of questions or making a lot of comments in regards to what that means. In this case of what she's talking about, releasing doesn't mean that she kicked me to the curb, that she was done with me, none of that. Releasing in this instance is almost like when you hear people say resting in the Lord. Okay, when you're because what she basically did was say, I'm taking my hands off of it. I'm going to release it to God. And I'm going to pray. I'm going to keep living. I'm going to go on doing my thing. And if it's meant to be, God will take care of it. God will handle it. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm not going to interfere to what God is doing behind the scenes. I don't want to try to control the narrative. I don't want to try to, push things or speed things up at my pace. I'm going to just let God handle it and let him do whatever it is he's going to do with it. And I'm going to be okay with whatever God decides to do with it. That's what we mean. And that's what she meant when she said releasing.
Yeah, because what I could have done was blocked him or unfriend him, especially when I found out that he didn't request me as a friend. But I was hearing too much from the Holy Spirit. I was like, nah. something in my spirit is saying, don't cut this guy off. I'm just going to release him. It's going to be whatever you say is going to be, Lord, or not. Either way, I'm not going to say when it should happen, if it should happen, how it should happen, when it should happen. I said, Lord, take my focus off of it. I did continue to pray, but I took my focus totally I took my focus totally off of it. Like I was not going to put my hand. I had already put my hands in it too much by reaching out to him. So
before you start, let me say this too. As she tell the story, listen not only to what she's saying in the story, but what I really hope you all see out of this is God's hand. Because there's so many things that happened in our story that in the earth realm, we should have never gotten together.
Nope.
And the only way we was able to get together and the way that we did is because God orchestrated it. Just for an example, me not being on that site in 5 years, there's no way she should have saw my profile.
Nope.
But she did. She saw both of them. But my point is, listen for where God is intervening on our behalf to work this out in the way that he's going to work it out. Because we need y'all to understand that in every one of y'all's situation, God is already behind the scenes.
He's already behind the
orchestrating
scenes.
some things.
You don't
and right
see
now,
it.
you may not see it or may not even be looking for it, but he is. That's one way how you came across this channel is that God is already connecting the dots with what you're praying for and what you're telling them to channels just like this that are talking about what it is you're praying for.
Right. That was one of the signs. So I wasn't even asking the Lord for signs. As a matter of fact, this is what I was asking the Lord to do. Because at this point, it was so loud in my spirit. I didn't know what was going on. I had never been through this where the Lord spoke to me like this. I was asking the Lord I was hoping that I would open up Facebook one day and I would see Terrence and his new wife, a picture that he posted, because that would have, for me, for my flesh, that would have closed it for me. That would have said it's closed and it's definitely a no. And so that's what I was like, Lord, like, tell me that it's not. But he kept giving me like little clues. Like, I was like, Lord, I don't want to think about this guy. Like, what is going on? I would go, like one time we went to a restaurant and we went to Stephanie's in Greensboro, me and my cousins to eat, to go to dinner. And the waiter name was Terrence, spelled the same way. That I was like, okay, it's like little clues I kept giving. I would drive down the highway and it would be like, vote Terrence Black for city council, spelled the exact same way as Terrence. It was like I would look at the credits to the movies, and it would be like produced by Terrence Hutchison. It was like it was constant. His name was constant, and so I got to the place. I was like, look, I'm good. It's not gonna happen with this guy. I'm doing my thing. I'm busy, but I'm going to still pray for this guy. I committed to praying for this guy. I'm going to still pray for him. So every Friday I fasted, every single day. I was in prayer every single day, and I was still curious as to what I was hearing in my spirit. So I kept my ear to the pavement. So in October, and I think we said this on the last video, that October, I was on social media doing my thing because I was doing nonprofit consulting, and I was on live, and one of my social media friends, she DM'd me and she says, my husband heard you speaking on your live this morning, and he has a word. He's a pastor. He has a word for you, and he wants to know if he can share it. And I was like, sure. And so that night we made arrangements for me to speak with them by phone. And he said, hi, I don't know you. He said, but I hear the Lord saying that your king is coming. He said, your king is coming, and he's coming with a lot of money. And I was like, wow. I said, okay. But I knew exactly what he meant because I knew he was talking about my husband was coming. And I was like, okay, so this must be what the Lord is saying. And so I just assumed it was Terrence. And so I said, okay, I thank you. I received your word. I said, that confirms what I'm feeling in my spirit. 3 weeks later, Terrence shows up in my DM. I was at work and I was at work and I got on Facebook and let me also say release also meant I did not go to his profile. I wasn't checking for him. I wasn't none of that. When I say I released him, I released him. I wasn't checking up on him. None of that. None of that. As far as I knew, he didn't even have me as a friend anymore. And I wasn't, I really, because I had released it. And so I didn't delete him, but whatever it was going to be, it was going to be. So I got, I saw that the notification was that there was a message. Now I only go on Facebook because that's where my family is. That's all over the country. So I go on Facebook only to check and see what my family is doing. And we have several group chats in Facebook for my family. So, but this, for whatever reason, when I saw the notification, I said, that's that guy Terrence. I did not see the name. I hadn't opened it up. I said that, my spirit said, that is that guy Terrence. I got up, I went to the bathroom, I prayed, I said, Lord, I don't know what you're doing. I trust you. Speak to me and through me. I took a deep breath. I came back to my office. I opened up that Facebook notification, that DM, and it was Terrence. And it had a white rose, and he said something like, hey there. It was like it was a beautiful, I don't even know what it said. I was so in shock. And I said, hey there, friend. I said, hey, Facebook friend. I said, are you sure you contacting the right person? He said, I am. He said, yes, I am. He said, I'm contacting the right person.
Yeah.
And he then went on to say that, well, later on, that day we chatted back and forth through DM, and was a very great conversation. We went back and forth through DM, and then from that day, that was like November 11th. That was like Veterans. No, it was like November 12th. So that day we talked maybe like every other day or every 2 to 3 days, we would talk through DM back and forth. And then on Thanksgiving, which was a couple of weeks later, I had told him in when we were going back and forth with the DMs, I had told him that the Lord had said to pray for him. Not that I would get you, but to pray for whatever you're going through. And that's when he revealed to me that his son at that time, when I contacted him, that his son had just left to go to New Zealand, to relocate to New Zealand. And he said he was very sad about that. And I was like, wow, then that's what the dark room meant. He was very sad. And so, and I said, and it was praying for, for the safety of his son, which I didn't know until he told me. So we were going back and forth. And so he was like, wow, you prayed for me. Wow. Like, I'm really impressed about that. And I said, absolutely. And so, so that Thanksgiving, I was in Maryland with my family, and we were having, when I hadn't heard from him all day. I hadn't heard from him for Thanksgiving. I was fine with that. Like, I wasn't I am like if I was going by zodiac signs, which I'm not, but I am what you call an Aquarius. So we're the best type of friends. We make the best type of girlfriends, like friendship. So I didn't hear from him, which I was fine. I was fine with that. And so, but that night, I got a text from him, a DM from him. In fact, because at that point we hadn't exchanged numbers. I got a DM from him, and he said it was a long DM, long message. And he was like, I really do like you. When you said you prayed for me, he said, I really like it. He said, I really want to get to know you better. I really think that we might have something here. Like, I really like you. He said, and I really want to see if we can get to go know each other. He said, but yeah, please don't take that zodiac astrology. I was just saying, like, I don't believe in zodiacs. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how much I don't believe in zodiac signs, because the world says Terrence is a Capricorn and I'm an Aquarius, and that we should not be together. So please don't. I was just joking there. So please don't take astrology. Like, I was joking. Anyway, so Terrence was like, he said, I really want to get to know you. He said, but I want to take it slow. He said, I really want to take it slow. Only thing I could respond back, I mean, I had a huge, like my whole, everything lit up. I responded back. I said, slow is perfect. I said, slow is perfect. The next night, the day after Thanksgiving, we exchanged telephone numbers, and he called me, and we talked for hours. The next day, that Saturday, we text back and forth. I was out shopping all day, so we were texting back and forth. And then that Sunday, I was leaving Maryland to come back home to Raleigh. And I remember Terrence texted me and said, I just want to make sure that you're traveling safely, and that you're, getting home or whatever, you're making it home. And then we sporadically after then, we would talk on the phone or by text mostly, like maybe every 2 to 3 days. And then it went into the pandemic. And so Terrence
Hold it right there, baby. Now, I want to put a pin in it right now, because I want to go back to something. Every time we tell our story, we leave it just like she just said it. But what I want y'all to understand or take from this is where God started communicating with her is different from when he started communicating with me. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of you think that as soon as you meet somebody, whether it's on social media, whether it's on a dating site, or whether it's in person, you think from that point on, it's you and that other person together.
forever.
And that ain't how it works most of the time. And here's why I'm saying this. Because you don't know where that other person is in their life and what God is orchestrating in order to get your two individual paths to start joining together to where they're on the same timeline. Right now, when we first met, we wasn't on the same timeline. I was doing something, she was doing something else.
But it wasn't that it was the wrong time, because God's timing is perfect.
God's timing is perfect. But you don't know where the beginning is and what things he's changing and moving around and orchestrating, so it gets to a point to where our timelines run into each other, which puts us in sync. So when you first meet somebody, I just want to remind you, remember that you just met them. And if they say, if it sounds like they're not interested, if it sounds like they're gaffing you off, it ain't that they don't care or that ain't the person. That just means they just met you. They don't know you from Adam.
Because the world will make you think that it's supposed to be an instant connection.
And we supposed to know immediately that you're the one. And that is not the case.
That's not always the case.
You got to remember, there's a process to everything. And sometimes you might run into a person 3, 4, 5 times, sometimes before you even say hello, or he or she says hello for the first time. So don't think just because you met somebody that if it's not a proposal right then, that's not the one, or that person don't like you, or whatever. That is not the case. That just means God just did an introduction. Now you two are at least aware of each other.
Aware of each other. And remember, we still hadn't seen each other face to face yet.
Exactly.
We were just conversing.
All of this was by text.
By text, by phone.
By phone.
By DM.
By DM.
That was it. So
All of this, God is working behind the scenes, and we're just communicating with what we already had.
yeah, we were just and it was running into the pandemic. So that was putting another, and let me tell y'all, this how he said slow. This is how nonchalant I was. I was just enjoying the ride. I was planning my 50th birthday party. Me and me and my 25 first cousins, my sisters, and my best girlfriends, we was headed to the Hamptons, to Sag Harbor, for my 50th birthday. And so that's what my focus was. And so I was, we were chatting back and forth, and we were, I talked to him when I talked to him. Like he said he want to take it slow, great. Cause right now my focus is on me and my girls. We about to do it up in Sag Harbor. And so that's what my focus was. And so we would call each other when we would call each other. When we were in Sag Harbor, as this is how blessed it was. We came back from me and my girls came back from my 50th birthday on February 24th or something. Right when we came out of New York, they shut New York down for something called COVID. They shut it down. But I was on a high. I wasn't thinking about like this guy Terrence. Yes, I was feeling him, but I was living. And so we continued to talk. And so that June, when they finally opened up and said we could, I don't even think they said we could travel or we could see each other. Terrence came to Charlotte to meet me for the first time. To Raleigh from Charlotte to meet me for the first time. When Terrence came to meet me for the first time, from that day, we did not miss talking to each other every single day. 6 months later, to the day, so he came to Raleigh on June 12th. On December 12th, he proposed marriage. And so what we've said in many videos prior, before Terrence met me in person, he just had an attraction. He just was attracted to me. He was attracted to our conversations. He was attracted, I guess, to my...
Now, I knew there was something about her. I just didn't know what it was.
Right. So he was attracted. He had went through all of my pictures, my Facebook, all of that. He was attracted to me. But it wasn't until he saw me in person that the attraction went to a whole nother level. It went to a connection.
And that's important to understand too. The attraction is what you're going to feel when you first see somebody, when you first meet somebody.
Or
and
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The attraction is going to be in the beginning. It's what's going to get you in the door. There's another thing called connection, is what you're looking for. The connection is not physical. It's not earthly. It's spiritual.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Right.
That's what you're wanting.
You want the attraction too.
You want the attraction.
But the attraction
but
can't
the attraction won't
sustain
keep you there
It's
forever.
not going to keep you there forever.
It's when you get the connection is when you know that it's bigger than just what the two of you look like.
Right. And so we say this all the time. If you meet somebody, let me say this carefully. If you meet somebody in person, the guy will usually know. He will usually know fairly quickly if there's something there. Now, he might not tell you right away, but he will usually know because he can then feel your spirit. He can really I don't want to say fill your spirit. Maybe that's the wrong word. He could help me out, baby.
If a guy is feeling you and he knows you're the one for him, he may not tell you, but this is where you got to be in the moment. This is where you got to be paying attention, because what he does is going to tell you that there's more to it than him just wanting to date you. Because if you're not paying attention, you're gonna not see the subtle things he's doing to say, I wouldn't do this for anybody. But I'm treating you now as if you're going to be in my life for a long time, because I'm doing some things with you now that I would not have done for any other woman. But you got to be paying attention. Especially those of you that are saying, I wonder if he likes me. I wonder if he's feeling me. I wonder if he's going to want to get serious. You got to be paying attention, because they may not always say it verbally. They may just start treating you differently, and you got to know the difference and how he's treating you from the time that y'all met to when he starts elevating how he's treating you. You got to be paying attention, because that will give you some confirmations to relieve a lot of stress that you're having in your own thoughts and in your own head.
Yeah. And somebody said, how did you feel?
How did I feel?
I guess after we met face to face.
I proposed 6 months later. And remind you, I told her I wanted to take it slow. But here's how God works. Because God worked it out in the way that he did, he worked it out, and it was a much slower pace than what I was even imagining when I told her I wanted to take it slow. So when we met, after talking, texting, after being in our DMs, each other's DMs for almost a year, when we finally met, it only took me 6 months. Well, it took less than that, but it took 6 months for me to propose to her.
And I thought it was quick, because I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what? It threw me off when
Yeah,
he
she even
proposed.
told me, she said, you didn't even give me a chance to be a girlfriend.
Like, it really went from us talking but I noticed that things changed, because then he started calling me every single day. And I remember, because it was during the pandemic, I remember my pops and my sister both got COVID and were both in the hospital. And they were both in the hospital, and I couldn't get there. My mother couldn't get in the hospital. She had to stand outside in the DMV. They wouldn't let nobody in the hospital, and I was crashing out because I felt like there was nothing I could do in Raleigh. And so I one night, because I'd never called Terrence. He didn't give me a chance to really call him, because he would call me all the time. And so, but this particular night I tried to call him and he wouldn't answer. And I crashed out, and I left this message on his phone. And now this is like within those 6 months from the time he first saw me to between the time he proposed. So it was like in those 6 months. I was like, I really needed a friend to talk to right now that I'm going through. And I crashed out. And I said, I feel like, you're not I went off. But I had, because we were really getting serious, and when he would come, at that point, he was coming to Raleigh like all the time to see me. I never had gone to Charlotte to see him, but he was coming to Raleigh. And so he would come sometimes early when he got off of work, and I would still be at work. So I gave him a key. Yes, I did. I gave him a key. Well, I crashed out this Monday. He was home or wherever he was. I crashed out. And I remember I went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, this man was sitting on my sofa. I opened up my bedroom door. He was sitting on my sofa with his hat and coat on, just sitting there looking like Brian from Mahogany when Diana Ross got on his nerves. And he was just sitting there like saying, don't you ever test how I feel about you. I will drive all night to make sure you're good. I opened that door, and I think it was at that point I was like, this man loved me. This man really cared about me. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
from that point on, I changed my whole work schedule.
yeah. Yeah. And then I finally went, I remember I finally went to Charlotte. Came to Charlotte to visit him. And I stayed for the weekend and I was leaving. And now he hadn't proposed yet. And that was proposing to me was just not, I didn't think that was so far from my head. But I was on my way back from his house and my car broke down. And he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm at such and such." He said, "I'm coming to get you." He came to get me, but I had to go to work. I had to go back home to Raleigh. He came and he traded cars with me. He said, "You take my car to Raleigh. I'm going to take your car and go get it fixed." I drove back. I said, "This man likes me. This man is really feeling me." And then, yeah, and then he proposed. And then we started, then I met his daughter because his son was in New Zealand. And then, yeah, and so yeah. So it's not always everybody's love story is different.
Yeah, because someone just asked in the chat, when did I know I was going to propose? I knew I was going to propose, but I didn't know I was going to propose that day. Because the date that I had in mind to propose hadn't got here yet. And
Yeah.
and she and I got in a conversation one evening.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like she was doubting the seriousness of my intention. So it was natural for me to propose right then.
Yeah. We were at his house in Charlotte and we were watching Run's house. It was just a casual Saturday night. And he said, "I've got to get you down here permanently."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, the ball is in your court, sir." That's exactly what I said. He said, "Well, you think I'm playing?" And he had my Christmas gifts in the corner, wrapped up. And he went and he got one of the gifts and opened it. And I'm like, and he pulled out the ring. And I was like, "What?" And the beautiful thing about that is because that day we had so many opportunities for him to do a proposal, and it was, when I say our proposal was the most perfect, it was exactly how we are in real life. Homebodies in flannel pajamas, looking at TV. That's how he proposed. So somebody had did a comment and said, did when did I think they said something like, "When did God tell you that I was?" I don't know. I don't. It was, these comments are going so fast. Put them comments back, those questions back. So God allows us to be attracted to the person, or do we have to grow to say? We got a whole video on that. When God does it, God.
Here's what I will share with you while she's coming up with the words. Read the word now about relationships. Read what the word says, because one of the things it says is when you are in God and God is in you, your desires or his desires will become your desires.
Yes.
So sometimes you're going to meet somebody and you may say, "This ain't the person for me." But God no different. And the more
you might think that it's
the
not the
more
person.
you get into the word, and the more you get into God's word, then the more you start to change your mind about that person.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens. I think for a lot of people who don't have spiritual eyes. So, for instance, one of my good girlfriends, which her love story is absolutely beautiful, which started at our wedding. But anyway, she had spoke in the private group a couple of months ago, but her husband, she got married 5 months after we got married. But her husband, they were friends for what, 20 years?
Mhm.
And she could see him no more than a friend because she said she wasn't attracted to him. She was not attracted to him. But one day, right after our wedding, he asked to take her out, and she started seeing him in a different way. She said she just started seeing him differently. And she said, now you can't tell me my husband ain't the finest thing on earth. And I think what happens is, I think when we surrender, say, Lord, you do. When we release, we say, whatever you help me to see what you're showing me. Help me to feel what you want me to feel. When you do that, you'll be surprised to see how things would. I said I would never move back to North Carolina ever, because I had moved to Charlotte in 1995 and it didn't work out here. And I hated it here. And I said I would never go back to North Carolina. And I had an opportunity to come, and I said, well, I'll give Raleigh a chance. I ain't going to no Charlotte, but I'll give Raleigh a chance. Now, you can't tell me this ain't the best place to live. So part of the releasing and allowing God to orchestrate your love stories, don't put no boundaries on him. Don't put no barriers. Don't tell him how it should be or what you don't want. Because that's what most people say is what they don't want. But when you start to tell God, these are the desires of my heart, Lord, I want you to put my desires in my heart and your desires in my heart. This is what I want based on what you want from me. Then doors are literally start opening. But when we say, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want no person with drama, I don't want no guy with a lot of baby mamas, I don't want this, I don't want a guy with children. You don't know how. I don't want nobody who live, more than 5 hours away from me. I don't want this. When you do that, you're putting limitations on what God wants to do.
Now, here's the other thing. As you're studying, and as your love story is being played out, if you stick into the word will start taking different meanings, and it'll start clarifying and opening up the knowledge of itself to you. And I'm gonna give you an example. The times I've read the Bible in the past, and it was saying, he that had ears to hear, let him hear. He that have eyes to see, let him see. I really didn't understand what that meant. But after we went through what we went through, and she and I were married, and we're starting to look back, and we're starting to reflect on some things. Now I'm understanding that when the word is talking about he who have eyes to see, let him see, it's talking about your spiritual eyes. So you can look at something with your human eyes,
Yeah.
and you don't see the same thing you see when you look at them with your spiritual eyes.
Right.
It's just like when it says that when God looks at people, God sees their heart. We prejudge people, and we don't even know their heart. We're prejudging them by what clothes they got on, what shade they are, what race they are, how tall they are, how whatever, but we don't see their heart. So the word starts to illuminate itself to you. So now you need to slow down as you read the word and look for the understanding in what you're reading. So you don't have to read, 20 pages a night. Read 5 pages, but get a great understanding in them 5 pages. Take your time now. And it's the same thing with what you're going through. When you're looking at something, don't prejudge it too quickly. Just ask God to clarify it. Make it plain for you so you can see it. Tell it to you again. Give you, that way you can know that when you get it, you know it's from him and you know exactly what it is.
But that also does not mean, though, because I think this is where a lot of, especially a lot of women, because when the guy knows, he knows. If he want to be with you, he want to be with you for the most part. it does not mean that, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and entertain this guy, from my church. I don't really like him. I'm not attracted to him, but I'm gonna go out on a date with him. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that
That's
at
not
all.
what it means.
No.
Because if you have that posture, don't waste nobody's time.
Who's Gregory Harris?
Okay, is that him?
No, somebody said.
Yeah, when I get to, I was
okay.
trying to find him,
Okay.
but when he comes back up, I will definitely
Okay.
block him.
Sorry.
But they're saying in the comments, they're saying, when did God give you confirmation, I guess, or when did you? Oh, thank you, Dia. Oh, there he is.
I knew shortly after going up to see her. But here's where the final confrontation for me confirmation for me is when she blew up that day. Now, how did I know that with her blowing up on me?
Because I crashed out.
Because those of you that just got here don't know me. I was one of those guys that as soon as I found out a woman was not the one, I'd break up with her. And I didn't mix my words. I would simply say, look, it's come to my attention that you are not the one for me. So we need to go ahead and part ways so I cannot block you from meeting who you're supposed to meet, and you can't block me from meeting who I'm supposed to meet. So deuces. And when she blew up on me, normally I would have said, that's drama I don't need. But that ain't what I said. The Holy Spirit said, remember what your mother used to tell you. My mother passed away years ago. But what my mother used to tell me is, I can show you better than I can tell you. Yeah. Rather than argue with her on the phone, I called my boss. I had his cell phone number. I called my boss, said, look, I need to take the next cycle off. I worked in cycles where I was on 3 days, off 3, that type of. So I called and said, I need to take the next, because I don't miss work. So when I called my boss, he said, look, you ain't never asked for time off. You can take the whole cycle. Don't even worry about it. I said, cool. Mind you, she didn't share this. I had just drove 2 hours back from her house to get home.
Yeah, because that was that Monday.
She went off on me after I drove 2 hours from her house.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, she's going off on me. I went into my bedroom, dumped my suitcase of what I had, or my bag of what I had in it, put in new clothes, and went right back and drove 2 hours right back to her place.
Yeah.
That's when I knew she was the one.
Yeah. So if you got the ring like in November?
Yeah.
Yep. That's another thing that they had asked.
Yeah, I got the ring probably a month or just under a month before I actually proposed.
Yeah. Yeah. And hindsight, I blew up on him because at no fault of his own. I blew up on him because my family was dealing with COVID and I couldn't get there.
They was in the hospital.
Yeah, in Maryland.
In Maryland, and we were in North Carolina, and she felt like she couldn't help them because COVID wouldn't let us go to Maryland.
Pandemic
it was during the pandemic. So she was stressed out. She blew up, and I was like...
And I took it out on him. I was like, because I didn't have nobody to talk to, and I was like, it was stupid. But that day, I was like, what in the world? I opened up my bedroom door and he was sitting there. I was like, what in the world? This man drove all the way back.
Not only did I drive back, I didn't have to be back at work for like 5 or 6 days.
And he stayed with me that whole week. And I think that was the first week that we stayed together. You would usually come on the weekends. Yeah. So he stayed with me that whole week. And we really got to know each other, especially because it was a pandemic and wasn't much we can do anyway. And so we got to know each other. So
yeah, so that again, that's when if you pay attention.
Yeah.
Even when words don't tell you, look at the actions and it'll show you.
If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. You'll know. Let me tell you something. You you will know. The attraction is first. So it's something you will be attracted to. It does may not be physical, but something you're going to be attracted to because attraction is a feeling. You will feel something. Connection is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Um, Child, I'm telling you, it almost happened. How did I date before marriage? I didn't. I wasn't a dater.
No, she said, how long did you
Oh, how
did
long did we
before?
date before marriage? 6 months. 6 months. We talked
From the time we saw each other in person, it was 6 months.
before.
Before I proposed.
Before he proposed.
Then we were engaged for almost
For-
14 to 16 months.
We were engaged. Yeah.
Because of the pandemic, we pushed back our engagement,
our wedding.
our wedding, to allow
More guests to be able to
things
come.
because it was crazy.
Yeah. Which during our engagement was a whole
list of
nother
videos of,
video. It's all those videos are up,
Yeah.
but that's a whole nother set of trials we went through.
And
Self-inflicted.
and learning
And
humble and
being humbled. And yeah. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, so everybody, and I think the biggest thing is that you just really have to take the when, what, who, where, why, how out of the way and give it to God. And that's easier said than done, but I had gotten to the place where I was just at peace with it.
Yeah.
Did we ever
What's that?
experience spiritual warfare at all during the engagement? Yes, we
Oh,
did.
yeah. You need to look at some videos.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we got videos on mistakes that we've made during our engagement that you wouldn't believe, from moving in together to sleeping with each other before marriage to
All of that.
We got all of that, and we didn't hold back. So
Yeah,
look
we
at those
paid for
videos.
it too.
We paid the price. We
And
paid
don't
the price.
recommend it to
And
nobody.
yes, and we did the video so you would understand how serious it is. So when it comes up on this channel, we're not saying it just to say we didn't do it, but y'all should do it. No, we're saying we learned a very, very valuable lesson, and you don't want to have to learn that lesson. Just take our word for it.
She said, Terrence, may you share why you felt it was important to show this level of interest? I don't understand. Would you share why you felt it was important to show what level of interest?
When I drove back up there after she blew up on me, that's what you do for people that's going to be the one. Things you don't do for just ordinary dating somebody, you will do for the one.
Yeah, Terrence says this all the time. You got to be careful to say what you won't do. Because he was doing,
Because when you meet the right one, all the things you said you wouldn't catch yourself, you ain't going to never catch me doing this. You will do it for the one. Why? Because that's the one. There's some things you should do for the one that you don't do for anybody else. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I did say to her is, once I proposed to her, I said, I'm not going to wait until we get married to treat you like my wife. If I know that you're going to be my wife, why shouldn't I treat you that way today?
But guess what? He never told me that he was looking at me like his wife. He never mentioned that I was going to be his wife. He never said it. So when he proposed, it was only thing he said is that he would get married again for sure. But he never said that I see you as my wife. I think you my wife. And I never said to him that God said that you're my husband. Never, ever, ever said it to him.
So that's another thing I want y'all to take out of this. If there's ever the moment comes and you feel God just told you who the person is, and beyond anything in your life that was God that told you this. Do not tell the other person.
Don't tell them.
That
Use wisdom.
God told you that for your good, not for the other person.
I didn't see the proposal coming at all. At all. I didn't see it. Because he said he wanted to take it slow.
Hindsight been 2020, we was already going slow. But it was such a slow that it was good because there was no way to mistake anything.
This person said you can definitely tell the other person. That's a preference thing.
You can tell them if you want to.
Well, this is okay. Let me say this. We said if God said that if God told you that the other person is the one, use wisdom. Because if I would have told him the first day that I went in his DM, if I would have said, because I believe like God was showing me something. I didn't know exactly what it was, but can you imagine me going to his DM in that Facebook and say, God told me you're my husband?
And say, she crazy. She loony.
Prudence, that's right. Use wisdom. Exactly. She said, I can't tell you how many exes said that I was the one. Exactly. Use wisdom. Do you have to have discernment? That's right. Wow. There you have it. And then we got married. That's up to you. This person said, do you think 35 years difference in age is drastic to marry somebody?
That's between the two individuals. That's an individual choice because it depends on one, how secure you are with whom you are. And then it also depends on how secure the other person is with themselves. Because if you two aren't secure with yourself, then how you going to start a relationship and then be secure in the relationship?
So that person says, how long does it take for a man to know if you're the one? That's
a, let me put it this way. We know probably 10 times faster than a woman knows.
Studies say it's 72 days a man knows.
Yeah.
Within 72 days.
It can be as quick as 72 days. It can be as long as maybe a year and a half. But most cases is within about 6 months, depending on how much time y'all are spending together. Because if you notice in our story, we probably spent the first year to year and a half not even seeing each other or just talking on the phone or texting or DMing.
So we can't even really count that. It's when we saw each other. When
we first saw each other in person, from that time, 6 months, I proposed. Which means somewhere around 4.5, 5 months, I got the ring. I was out shopping and she didn't even know it.
Yeah, yeah, they know. That's why I said they will know. They might not tell you right away, but the man knows.
But that's why it's so important to stay in the moment and see stuff and pay attention to things. And sometimes not even comment on it. Just sit back and say, okay, he's doing this, she's doing that. Okay. Weeks later, okay, they still doing this. Like, I really, really love doing things for her now that I started doing from the very first time we met. I try not to do something or start something that I can't do every day or I won't continue to do. Because I don't want her to say to me one day, oh, you used to call me sexy. You don't call me sexy anymore. You used to do this. You don't do that anymore. No. I'm doing whatever I did on day one. I want to continue to do our whole life so she know I'm consistent when it comes to how I feel about her, how I'm going to treat her, and all those things.
Going back to the question that the person said, she said, how is it that guys know and women don't know? Just to remind you, I knew almost 2 years prior that
She
he
knew
knew.
before I did.
I never said anything, and I wasn't going to say anything.
Thank you for answering the question. The question was, what is my sign? I'm a Capricorn. My birthday's Christmas Day. I am the Capricorn.
Lord, you're going to put these church people in a tizzy.
But I don't believe in astrology. I don't get into that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do think that God does reveal it to the woman first. We kind of, yeah. You have a private question, come into the private group.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a private question.
Oh, well, we need to go back. That question's already gone, but somebody mentioned something about 2 years prior. So yes, she was told about 2 years prior. So
I knew God was saying something when I first saw his profile.
So I wanna emphasize that though, because I want to make sure you all understand. Even if God tells you something, it doesn't mean it's going to happen immediately. Immediately being in the next month or so. That's still something you're going to have patience on, because you don't know what God is still working out behind the scenes, and you don't know how long it's going to be for it to work out in a way for it to benefit everybody.
She said, "Where was where were I guess our relationship with the Lord before you met each other? Intimate,
Oh yeah,
in love."
yeah. We both had a conversation with God and said, "Look, if you have somebody for us, great. If you don't, that's great. As long as we got you, we're going to be good." We had those conversations individually with God by ourselves before we even met.
She said, "Jill, why do you think the Lord tells the woman first?" We just did that video on Sunday. But I believe that the Lord shows the woman first. It's not always that he shows the woman first, but I believe that the Lord shows. I believe that when the Lord shows the woman first, is because he needs some intimate time with her prior. For me, one of the things that I know he had to develop in me was patience. So when Terrence said he wanted to take it slow, I was already equipped with patience because I had already had a year of training.
Yeah.
These comments are coming fast.
Mm-hmm, they are.
You're right. She said, "How would you know if God truly told you, or if it's not your own desire? You only really know once you're married, if it was God speaking. But you might believe that you heard the voice of the Lord. That's why you need to have.
That's why you
You
got to
have
have a great
wisdom,
relationship
and
with
you have to have
God.
wisdom, because you could say, God said you're my husband, and they'd be like, well, God didn't tell me that. So you only really know for sure if you're both married, if you get married, and God told him to.
Which is why you have to understand
And it has,
about the patience. You got to understand about discernment. You got to understand about there's a process. You got to understand that there's, there's levels, and you have to be open to what God is sharing with you in all of this. And when you get married, then you can go back and reflect and see. That's what we're doing. All these videos we've done, it's all for reflection.
Hindsight.
This is stuff that we talk about and discuss after the fact. We didn't know what we're telling y'all as we went through it.
And we developed this channel when a month after we got engaged. Only
Because we was
to
talking
encourage
about it,
us.
saying we wish there was somebody that would have walked us through the process.
Yeah, we walked
That's
through
how
this
we came up with
alone, trying to figure out being over 50 and trying to figure, like, I had no clue what God was showing, like that it was God showing me that he was. I had no clue that that was going on. I was getting little signs, but I didn't know for sure. I didn't know for sure. I was like, I was getting signs, but hindsight, God showed me Terrence was the one. I felt it in my spirit, but I was, that part of my relationship with the Lord was being developed. So it was like real fragile. I didn't know.
And even at that point, we still didn't know the need until Jill told our story on a site
On Facebook,
on
yeah.
Facebook.
I just announced
in a
our
group,
engagement.
in a group. And when she did, that thing got flooded with people commenting saying they were in their 50s and we gave them hope.
I was
And
like,
they wanted to, and
this is
because of that, we
crazy.
was like, oh my goodness, there's too many people that are looking for hope. And we decided to start our own channel to
Right.
share
Thank
our
you for
story
that
more.
gift.
And that's how it all began.
Yeah, yeah.
Who knew that God was going to take us down this path and it was going to be something we do, spend as much time in as we are now.
Right.
We just want to let people know that if you want something, especially marriage,
God wants it for
God
you.
wants it for you,
He
and
has
he
it for
ordains
you.
it. He has it for you. You just got to believe him and tell him that's what you want, and then stand on what his word says about it until it comes to you. Because he's already immediately answered your prayer as soon as you prayed it. He's already behind the scenes working it out. You just got to be patient enough and trust him enough to
Be in
allow
alignment.
it and be in alignment so it comes through.
I was reminded of something today. It's like the Lord has this gift. He's holding this gift, and he wants to release it to you. He's ready to release it to you. But so many people, they're blocked. They're not in a place to receive what he's trying to give them. And the block could be for so many reasons. It could be what you're saying, and it could be, holding past traumas. It could be, well, I don't want such X, Y, and Z. And so you gotta continue to say, Lord, I release it. I release everything I'm holding in my head, in my heart. I release it because I want to receive what you have for me.
And believe it or not, some of you got some great, amazing things going on. But as such, you might be so full that you don't have room for God. So you may have to release some things in order to make room for him.
Yes, we did premarital counseling with Terrence's pastor. We did. Who he also married us.
So yeah, it's a learning process. It's a growth process. And Jill has always said that marriage is the best personal development program there is.
Coveting, the difference between, in my opinion, the difference between coveting and desiring is you want your desires to match with the Lord's desires. Coveting is like you see this couple and you want what they have. That's coveting. That could be, yes. Listen up for those. They said that they're getting contradicting signs. Pay attention to that. When the Lord brings it, it is peace.
Yes.
And it'll push you closer to him. So if there's some conflict, something don't feel right in your spirit, those are red flags. Pay attention to those.
How do y'all choose what pastor? We chose my pastor because we're in North Carolina.
Because that's Terrence's pastor.
Yeah.
Yes, that wasn't hard at all.
Yeah.
We knew who. Yes, we knew exactly who was going to marry us. Yep. So right, I think that's about it. Any more questions before we log off? Thank you for the high five. Thank you, y'all. And we're loving these love stories that's coming, that's happening. Man, we are absolutely loving these love stories that's coming through. I have children. Is marriage possible outside of my children? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. Coveting is based on jealousy and envy. Yep. She said, I've been dating a guy for 3 years. It's a long distance relationship. I feel like he's my husband, but he's not ready to get married, remarried. Oh, after divorce. Oh gosh, that went so fast. Listen to J Moss song you spoke about. Yes, that's the song. How long did you practically deal with the emotions of knowing who your husband was? 4 months, and then I released it. Nothing exactly happened before everything, but nothing happened afterward either. I don't know what that means. Can you explain the difference between desiring? Thank you so much, Life with Candace.
Thank you.
Can you explain the difference between desires versus idolizing? Idolizing is you worshiping that thing. So you
Yeah.
worshiping marriage,
Yeah,
worshiping
you want marriage for a reason
you're
outside of what
yeah,
God created it for.
Desiring. God gives us the desires of our heart. So desiring is different from idolizing. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, y'all. We're gonna log off. You ready to log off, baby?
I am.
Yes.
I am.
All
And
right.
ladies, I'm gonna share this with you. And guys, if you're on here, you need to understand what I'm about to say. But ladies, y'all keep your heads up because God is already working in on y'all's behalf. And God presented Eve to Adam as a gift. So understand that you are a gift. You are a gift. So don't settle for being anything other than to somebody than a gift.
Yes.
Fellas, go get your gift
Your favor.
and go get your favor.
Yes. All right, y'all. Private group. Well, we'll be on next Tuesday, but the private group also meets next Tuesday.
Yes.
And Happy New Year. And yeah. And if you want to contact us through our
Yes.
website.
Happy
All right.
New Year's.
Happy New Year, y'all. Be blessed.
Peace.